This is some weird stuff, but that's okay. We like weird stuff.
Technically, I should not be talking about this, my instance, because I signed an NDA not to.
Hey there. Have you ever heard the story about this time that a UFO, a UAP, appeared above an Air Force base and shut down 10, that's right, 10 ICBM Minutemen nuclear-armed missiles? Just shut them down, just knock them out. Let's talk about it. Hey there. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in your part of the world, on this part of the planet, in this part of the cosmos or beyond. Welcome to the Higher Frequency Network, and I'm your host, Renee Lynn, where we discover the strange and unusual, which is kind of perfect that I'm here as your host because I myself am a bit strange and unusual, to quote Lydia Dietz. Yeah. So I have a feeling that if you're here, you're interested in UFOs, UAPs, the unexplained, the mysteries of the universe. But so many of us who are interested in UFO and UAP phenomenon are very curious about the idea of visitation, right? Perhaps you've had a visitation yourself. Perhaps you haven't. Maybe you don't even believe, or maybe you're on the edge of belief. Perhaps you might have heard about this story when in 1967, UFOs appeared and had a visitation over an Air Force base. And what did they do? They actually disarmed the missiles at this particular Air Force base. I recently caught up with retired Air Force Captain Robert Salas at a recent Hollywood Disclosure Alliance meeting. Robert believes that the extraterrestrials are trying to tell us something. They have a message about our involvement with nuclear weapons, and clearly he thinks the ETs are here to say, WTF? Let's check in with Robert and see what he had to say.
There is a very strong secrecy cabal in the government that's been at this a long time, since Roswell, I think. It'll go to many lengths to keep the secrets from coming out. And of course, they're tied in with the military-industrial complex. But they are a very well organized, well funded, and determined organization, I think, secret organization within government. They'll do what they can to put a kibosh to this and keep it from happening.
Robert's referring to an opportunity to testify before Congress.
Technically, I should not be talking about this, my instance, because I signed an NDA not to, but I rationalized and went ahead anyway. And the first person I told was sitting right here. Went public with my story to my wife, who has been best thing that ever happened to me, and she's been a constant support, very strong supporter of me throughout the whole thing. She's kept me going when at times when I wanted to stop going.
May I interject one thing? His first interview on Art Bell, we lived in Seattle at the time, and Linda Moulton Howe interviewed him along with Art on the show. I think it was 1996.
Right.
And after he finished the interview, which was for about an hour, he hung the phone up and he said, "Thank God I'll never have to do that again." And I laughed. I said, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "This is just the beginning." And I was right.
What would you testify to or talk about
Oh,
in a hearing
okay.
like that?
Briefly, in March of this year, it'll be the 58th anniversary, I was a missile launch officer stationed at Malmstrom Air Force Base, Montana. And after the first phone call I got from my guards upstairs, I was at 60 feet underground in a hardened capsule there were only two of us down there that would launch missiles, destroy planet Earth if given the order by the president. But that was my job. And the first call, my guard notified me that they were seeing strange lights in the sky, and they were described just as the same way the Tic Tac was described. Going extremely fast, stopping in midair, reversing course, making 90-degree turns, no engine noise, that sort of thing. They were not aircraft, he said. These are not aircraft. And so thanked him, hung up the phone, basically, because I didn't believe any of that stuff at that time. And then 5 minutes later, he calls back, and this time he's frightened, screaming into the phone. He's got all the guards, the rifles are drawn, looking at this glowing red-orange object hovering just above us, our launch control facility. And he wanted me to tell him what to do. I had no clue what to do. I didn't even know what he was talking about. But they were very frightened upstairs. And then I felt we were under some sort of an attack because they were frightened. I said, make sure the area up there is secure. Nothing enters, nobody enters. Do whatever you have to. Hung up the phone, went to tell my commander about these phone calls about lights in the sky. And all of a sudden, one of our missiles went down. And then all 10 of them went down while this object was still up there. So that happened March 24th, 67. When we called it into the command post at Malmstrom Air Force Base, they told us the same thing happened before. That was March 16th. Just 8 days earlier, UFOs came over and shut down 10 missiles. We go back to September of 1966. This is Dave Schindele replaced a crew that was on duty who had the same thing happen to them. UFOs came over and shut down 10 missiles. So within the span of 6 months, we lost 30 nuclear missiles to UFOs. By lost, I meant just temporarily, a couple of days, they were down. They had to be brought back up on alert status manually, and there was a lot of people going out there. And those 3 incidents are not the only ones. There have been many other instances of UFOs flying at or near nuclear facilities, just shining a beam of light where the nuclear weapons are stored, and then flying off. Simple as that. So I've researched 13 incidents in pretty good detail. They're all supported by multiple witnesses. So I've come to the conclusion that they were not trying to, damage our weapons. Our weapons were not damaged at all. The equipment was not damaged. None of it. It was simply that we had inertial guidance, and if you upset, let's say a level platform that they use for gyroscopes in that inertial guidance system, which is used for navigation once the missile is launched. That's all they did. They upset a piece of hardware, which is basically a computer that takes the inertial data and computes if it's on target, where it is, how fast it's going, etc. And that's all that happened. Bottom line is they are sending us a message that it is absurd. I think the term I used was WTF. You remember that.
Working clean, Bob, working clean.
I did. I used the initials.
That's right. No, that's right.
Known around.
WTF are you doing with these weapons? They could completely destroy planet Earth very easily. And that's the message we're getting, I think.
Now, if you want to take a deeper dive into these stories and experiences, Bob has written a couple books. One is called Unidentified, the UFO Phenomenon, How World Governments Have Conspired to Conceal Humanity's Biggest Secret. He's also written UAPs and the Nuclear Puzzle, Visitations, National Security, and the Need for Transparency. Check on places like Amazon for different types of formats, audiobooks, and Kindles. Bob is very well connected to the UFO community, and I love this quote from Stanton Friedman. Fasten your seatbelt. You're in for a fascinating ride. Hey, just sharing a bit of thanks and gratitude for Robert Bob Salas for sharing his story at the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance meeting along with his charming wife, Marilyn. She's an amazing energy worker. Loved getting to know her. She's awesome. They're both going to be at Contact in the Desert, which is coming up very, very, very soon. Let me put something up on the screen here. Contact in the Desert is sort of like the Woodstock of UFO conventions, taking place this year in 2025 on May 29 through June 2nd. Now, this is not some silly tinfoil hat affair. We have expert presentations going on, amazing panels and workshops from renowned ufologists, government whistleblowers, alien abduction specialists. There is just something there for everybody, whether you're just starting to explore the world of UFO and UAP sightings yourself, alien encounters, government and UFO disclosures, if you're a seasoned researcher looking for the latest findings, or if you're brand new. Contact in the Desert really does have something for you, for everyone. Why am I so excited? Well, I spend time at Contact in the Desert myself, and I also provide frequency work there, and I give nightly sound baths. So come on out if you're curious. We'd love to see you there. We'll leave some contact information in the comments. You can go to contactinthedesert.com in the meantime. Learn all about it. Hey, and if you are a Coast to Coast AM fan, you're going to love seeing George Norrie and George Knapp on stage together. New this year is Mr. Josh Gates from Expedition Unknown. And fun fact, I used to do a ton of work on this show as well as other paranormal shows for the Travel Channel and Discovery Networks. Thanks for tuning in to the Higher Frequency Network. It's been a pleasure. Hope we get together again real soon.